At least like get
There's more
people
space.
in the room and all
I
say,
think it is working. It's okay. So let's see, we'll get back. Let's see if we can get a little video going. And we'll let Nancy know.
No.
All right.
all right, well, we'll get started on our meeting of the Plainfield Select Board on Wednesday, July 15th. And we will start with our approval of the minutes.
I didn't see anything missing, or they looked fine to me.
That's fine with me too, would you?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes as they are.
All right, I will second that. All in favor? Aye, all right, the minutes are approved. We'll go on to public comment. We have anyone here wishing to comment publicly today? I'm gonna start with Lee.
First, please allow me to apologize.
Yep.
The Energy Committee wasn't here to present this more formally. I had major surgery last month and my husband's ill and people are out of town, as you already know, so it's been tough haul, but this was important that you should be informed before August 1st. So allow me to give just a quick overview of where we stand with community power.
Okay.
All right, so just to provide first a little context, I do have some documents, which. But more helpful if you don't try to look at the documents and by the end, it'll be clear. At the moment, it's like, oh my God, what does this say? So taking you back really quickly to February 2025, we had a really cold winter and all of the electricity suppliers were caught short. Our rates did not cover costs and we were all in the hole. CPC&H being the newcomer, not having any shareholders, not having any lines of credit or institutional history, was up against a wall and we had to raise our rates immediately. So if you look at that graph on the very first page, you will see that from the time that we were formed in 2023 until February 2025, the prices came down, 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 and because of our prices going down, 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 so did the utilities. But as of February, we had to raise our prices because we were out of pocket and that's the only way you could stay in business. So from that point until the current period, our rates have been somewhat higher than the utilities, not lower, as we firmly promised at the time of launch, because, you know, how could it not be better to be in the competitive market than it was to be a monopoly provider? Well, the main difference is that the monopoly providers didn't have to cover their costs. So as of now, Eversource is roughly $38 million out in unrecovered costs. And those are the monies that they have not collected from that period. And also last winter, also they went under. Liberty has almost 10 million outstanding and Unitil 3 million. We, however, are now in the black. And because we're in the black, where things are now going to get back to where they should have always been. And if our competitors had also been pricing their costs as they should have been as they went along, we would have been under them throughout that period. So large electric rate increases have been anathema to the current administration. Liberty came in with this the rate periods are kind of odd. They go from February to August and August to January. So for the current rate period, not the current, excuse me, the one that's about to start on August 1st, not quite current yet. As of the coming rate period, Liberty proposed 21 cents. Which would have been a very big increase in its pricing. The PUC refused to accept that, just as a year ago, Liberty tried to raise the rates and the PUC refused to allow them to do so. Eversource has not made any effort, well, a marginal effort to start recouping its 38 million in outstanding funds. So while we are operating in the black, we still have to get a certain amount of reserve. We have to have 60 days of operating funds on hand. We have to be able to hedge against risks. We're operating in a volatile market. We know energy prices are going up. We know we have a crisis in the Gulf of Hormuz that is unresolved. So we're not where we want to be, but we are under Liberty. Our prices are going down. Their prices have to go up as they clear their arrears. And that's the quick and dirty overview. So if you look on the back of the first page that has a double-sided, you'll see two, tables? Two tables. And you'll see that electricity rates are very complicated. In the first line of the first bar table, it says Liberty, and it says CPC and H rates 14.729. The utility rate 15.835. So the CPC and H rate is a savings of 7.5% over the Liberty rate. And we need to get back to our people that we told in February, get out of CPC and H, you're paying too much money. We've made a very strong effort to reach low-income people in the community so that they were not ill-advisedly paying more than they needed to be. But if they stick with Liberty, they're going to be paying for their arrears, and we don't want people paying twice. The Eversource is the other utility that functions in our community. Their the rate that CPC and that charges for Eversource customers is the Eversource rate is 14.95, and our I'm sorry, I spent too much time on the words and not enough time. At any rate, Eversource is cheaper, looks
Yeah.
cheaper on paper, currently is cheaper in actuality, but it's because they're not covering their costs. So there's a 6.5% difference. If you are an Eversource customer, you will pay about $6 more per month over the upcoming rate period. As we recover as we hedge and as we replenish the reserves. And then the other table is showing you the increase from the current period, which is February to July 26 to August 26 to January 27. So Liberty has increased its price from 14.63 roughly to 14.72. Eversource has increased from 14.66 to 14.9. Is that right? That doesn't look right. No, this is, I do apologize. I struggle with this. CPC&H charges its Eversource customers a different rate than it charges its Liberty customers, then it charges its Unitil customers, then it charges its commercial customers and the different classes of commercial customers. This table is showing you what CPC&H charges those of its customers who are served by Liberty versus those of its customers that are served by Eversource. I apologize for screwing that up. If anyone has any questions, the document that is here is easily read at home rather than having me spend that time taking you through it. But I think that the big picture is CPC&H is back. There was an effort to drive us out of business. And I've been told by members of the legislature that the fact that the PUC was holding their rates down when we were forced to the wall was an effort to drive us out of business. It was not successful. We did lose about 9% of our customer base here in Plainfield, but that's a little bit less than the across the state, which was 9.1%. But other than that, people stayed with CPC&H through this period of struggle. But things look fair ahead. There's been a reorganization at headquarters. We have a new CEO. We used to try to save money on things like the chief financial officer. we're now paying for a chief financial
Gotcha.
officer. And making sure that hedging and risks are well foreseen and provided for.
And if I remember correctly, it's very easy to opt back in or to opt out.
Yes,
It's not a,
It's a simple phone call or simple getting up on the CPCNH website, but in fact, the document on the last page of the two-sided one.
so for
Has
those
the
who are
phone.
interested in,
But I'm gonna be talking with Stephanie about maybe how we can get back in touch, particularly with those who struggle the most with their electricity bills.
Yeah.
And also, going to use Connect Cornish to get the word out. Unfortunately, it took so long for the utilities to get their rates published. Part of it was they kept negotiating with the PUC, you know, they said 21%, no, 15%, no. And so it was only at the end of last month that things were finally resolved. And even when they're finally resolved, you know, there's always a question, so it's now firm.
great, thank you. Did you have any questions?
No, I'm good.
Okay,
And I'm sure that the writing will
public. CPCNH, just put that into a website and CPCNH. Okay.
thank you. Sure.
And the phone number is there. We have a crew standing by with, on the telephone that can explain any of this to a customer.
Other public comment this evening? Maria?
Okay, you're all done.
No, I'll go after
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, I didn't.
Mine's too long.
Okay,
Hi, everyone. Thank you. Stephanie suggested that I come and share a little information with you about what's going on with the Public Health Council of the Upper Valley.
great.
So I have some slides which will save me from going through every single one of them with you. I will share, first of all, that the flu clinic for this coming fall has been scheduled. Was the date September 30? Is that what we picked? October. Oh, you're right, it's like October, yeah, October 7, October 1st.
October 1st.
Perfect. 4 to 6 for actually giving out vaccines.
Right, I have to put it in my calendar to be there an
Yeah,
hour
that's
early.
right. Yeah, please don't show up at 3.
Will that be at the school?
Yes, it will be at the school as usual. We are doing 1 hour shorter this year because that last hour tends to be very quiet. And it will allow the medical students to get a more efficient experience of providing vaccines. So thank you to Plainfield for allowing us to do this clinic
thank
here
you.
for so many years. Thank you for the support you've provided to the Public
That
Health
helps us.
Council for many years. We really appreciate that. The funding that we get from local organizations, which is approaching $60,000 a year from local municipalities, is a significant chunk of our budget, and it does allow us to remain really flexible and continue to serve the needs of our communities as opposed to doing the deliverables that some grant from the state or federal government would ask us to do. We have gone through a strategic planning process in the last couple of years to really hone in on what it is our community partners want us to focus our attention on. In this year, 2026, we are taking those requests for work and really trying to figure out exactly what they look like and what we should be doing to meet those goals. When it comes to municipal government, you know, I'm kind of speaking to the choir when I come to Plainfield because you have Stephanie and you have Stephanie in the roles of health officer, what technically the welfare officer role, community resource, and the emergency management director, I believe, right? And these are the core public health function roles that particularly all of our New Hampshire towns are supposed to have. And one of the things that I find in many communities is that those are different people. They often are doing multiple jobs, and those particular roles are not well understood, certainly not well supported. And those individuals often don't really communicate with each other. So one of the things that we're going to be building out over the next few years is more outreach to our municipalities to help them, first of all, understand what those core public health roles are. And I suspect in many cases, even you all don't see those things, that you don't say, oh, that's our public health infrastructure or our public health department, but it is, that's where all of these things come together. And we want to help towns see the connections between those roles and understand why it's valuable, even if you can't put them all in one person, why it's valuable to be thinking in terms of how those people work together and how they support the community in a coordinated fashion. Because as Stephanie's been able to articulate, there are times when she shows up to a situation in the role of the health officer and immediately is able to switch hats and start moving into a different role, because that's what the situation requires, and that's what's going to keep the community safe and healthy. So thank you for that. What we want to start doing is hopefully bringing folks from the towns in the region together quarterly or twice a year, depending on what we can muster, to create opportunities for them to learn from each other. There are tasks that have to happen within towns, like updating your emergency preparedness plans or emergency response plans. Thinking about shelter plans or how the education you might need to respond to some of the town health officer roles in communities. So we think that if we can bring these folks together, we can give them actual work time to say, if you need to work on this particular document, or you want to create this kind of a plan, or you want to update your town assistance applications, why don't you do it all together so that you can be learning from the other people who do this work? So we do plan to launch that first meeting in September, I hope, and we'll see how it goes and continue with that. We are available to help respond to particular needs. Last year, we completed a public health needs assessment for the city of Lebanon. It's obviously a bigger operation, but it allowed us to do some research on their behalf and answer some questions they had about what were the core issues and how might they go about doing things differently. And we're available to do that kind of work. If there were a small project where you wanted to have some grant writing support or research to understand your sociodemographics, we are available to do those kinds of things. And we would also be available to come in if you wanted to bring a group of community officials or community members together to talk through a particular issue or a problem, looking for a solution. We would be happy to come and help facilitate a process along those lines, bringing our public health expertise to the table. Are there any questions you might have of me?
I actually have a question, but I'm not sure that it's in your bailiwick, so I'm gonna give it a shot. So do you do anything that involves the public safety issue of not having enough police officers in the state?
Ooh, well, no.
Are you? Well,
Good answer.
I mean, I wasn't sure how far you stretch the whole public safety aspect of what you guys do.
I think the way I would approach a question like that is to try to understand particularly where someone's concern about the number of police officers was affecting sort of public safety from a public health perspective. And then we would have opportunities to advocate on that topic with the right people. So we do host a bi-state legislative event every year, and we bring legislators from our community as well as our the towns across the river in Vermont. It's an amazing opportunity to have New Hampshire and Vermont legislators in a room together. Many of them are dealing with the same challenges. So that might be an issue that we bring to them if we understand where policy can make a difference on that. So is it a workforce issue? Is it they get paid better someplace else, so they don't want to work here? Is it all of the above?
It's a small
It's a-
town issue.
It's a small town issue, that's right. And I
Competing with
know that-
larger towns that,
Absolutely, yes.
I just
Particularly when
wasn't
you
sure
want
where the line
part-time.
was.
So the line is, we're probably not gonna build a police academy or.
No, wouldn't think that you, yeah.
Or, but one thing that we do in collaboration with a lot of other folks in the region is continue to talk about the ways in which our police officers probably spend more of their time dealing with mental health,
Yes.
and other kinds of crises than they should.
We wear many hats, just like Stefan.
And, you know, some of you are better equipped to handle those kinds of situations than others from just deeply in your heart and understanding how to respond. That's one of the big challenges. And I know that even though the state of New Hampshire, as well as Vermont, have tried to implement some new strategies over the last few years, particularly this mobile crisis intervention approach. Everything that I've heard from police officers says, look, the problem is I don't have the time to sit there for 2 hours and wait for the counselor to show up. So even though I've called and they've said somebody's on their way, I still have to just take them to the emergency department because I've got another call coming in, right? So that system, while on paper it's good, isn't working very well. And those are the kinds of things that we have this feedback loop with legislators and other leaders in communities to keep making sure they're hearing that message.
I just want as many people, speaking up on the issue as there can be.
Yes, we need more police officers willing to do local town work. And we need more resources so that they don't have to do the mental health work that they do. How's that?
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Anything else?
Did you have a question?
Yeah, regarding students and vaccinations, like nationwide, we've had rashes of measles and everything else. I don't know in this town how many actually refuse to have their kids vaccinated for stuff that has always been
Mhm.
fine. Do you contact the school or does the school contact you?
No, that
What
is
can
not,
we-
because we are not an official public health department.
Yeah. But it, as an educational basis, like
Right.
at the beginning of the school. Or offer, okay, maybe you have so many people with misinformation
Mhm.
and disinformation. Where they don't know they're coming or going,
Right,
so just one kid could infect the whole school.
that is absolutely true,
And not just the school, but then the teachers and everybody else.
yeah.
So, as a community, we need
Mhm.
to do that. And in this community, going back to the mental health issue, we had a suicide and the family tried everything. They went over to this place in, Brattleboro, whatever, I forget. the name.
Brattleboro retreat.
Yeah. They actually had the nerve to say to the family, there's nothing we can do or whatever, and one life could have been saved. If those people there or any of the other health professionals might have been able to.
Was that
No, it was an adult.
when it comes to an adult, it
They
becomes
can't.
incredibly complicated
Yeah.
unless professionals can determine that adult is truly a harm to others in the community.
But, having.
The criteria are
Yeah.
difficult
Mhm.
to make an involuntary commitment. So so sorry to hear that story.
Yeah,
It's really
no,
tragic.
It was
when
a
those things
shock,
happen.
yeah, it was a shock to us, but the whole thing is. The family. Goes through suicide, like, it doesn't happen that often, or, so. They don't know where to turn to. They try the regular basis. And when all of that is given up,
Mhm.
who do you turn to?
Right, right.
So
So-
maybe that's something that should be addressed at
Right.
some point, even one person
Mhm.
that is lost.
We actually, the Headrest organization in Lebanon,
Mhm.
supports a suicide prevention hotline, which is,
Yeah, and
24/7.
988
Well, 988
is
is the big one, and it can get you to headrest, and they have some amazing people. But I know those are not always the solutions, and making sure, it's one of those things, people will pass by the flyer for something like that because they think that's not relevant to me. And then they don't have it when it is, and that's the difficulty with health education in general is how do you make sure that information is accessible for somebody at that moment when they realize they need it? And when they're in trauma, when they're in crisis, and so we do try to make those things available. We're always open to different ways and better ways to do that.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for?
I just want to say
Yeah.
on behalf of the town of Plainfield, thank you for all of your support and bringing everything to us when we need it most,
Yeah.
especially during the pandemic. I mean. it
Boy,
was-
that was a time.
But the teamwork that came was incredible, and it wasn't just Plainfield, it was the entire Upper Valley. So thank you, Alice, for your hard work and communication.
And for coming tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Yes.
And I would like to introduce Lily, who's an intern working for me this summer.
Hey, Lily.
Bye.
I've been able to leverage a lot of student support over the last couple of years, and just interviewed a young man today from Dartmouth who wants to be my full-time intern for the
Oh.
fall, so.
Oh, great, super.
That's awesome.
I would also like to say that as a rule of thumb, I always schedule Plainfield as the first of the food clinics. Cause I can count on Stephanie to help me get the kinks out of the system.
And we know how good we are. Believe
And
me.
during the COVID pandemic, when we had to do a drive-through, I absolutely could not have
You know.
gotten through that process without Stephanie as my partner. To teach me how to do
You
it.
can't keep her, she's ours.
You know, I'm glad that she's yours. I'm just trying to figure out how to clone her
yeah.
for all the other communities in the region. So actually, thank you for caring enough about the work
Oh my gosh.
that she does to give her the support she needs to do it. Unfortunately, there are towns that would, as I jokingly say, they schedule their town welfare hours at midnight once a year when it's snowing. So thank you all very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Alice.
All right, so Maria, you're up.
My goal has always been to encourage maximum citizen participation and ensure transparency. The fact that the board and human resources are only finalizing a framework and intake structure for this search, I think that our call for administrative readiness was entirely factual. And necessary. We want this search to succeed. A professional, clear, and open process is what the taxpayers of Plainfield deserve, and that is what we will continue to advocate for. The risk of municipal litigation, exposing the town to liability. Furthermore, the board's action on July 1st go far beyond a mere disagreement. They expose the town of Plainfield to significant legal and financial risk. When public officials use their official televised platform to publicly attack, label as deceptive, and attempt to silence a private citizen for distributing factual public information, it crosses the line into First Amendment retaliation. Government officials cannot use their authority of the offices to target and defame individual citizens who are actively participating in civic discourse by allowing unchallenged false assertions to remain on the official record without correction and failing to provide a fair, neutral administrative process to address these grievances. The town leadership risks dragging our taxpayers into costly civil rights litigation under federal law. Protecting the town means protecting its taxpayers from the legal liabilities of defensive, unchecked administrative overreach. By choosing to let false accusations stand uncorrected on the public record, this board's failure to maintain administrative accuracy and neutral process directly exposes the town to significant legal liability and costly risk of civil litigation. Since I was unable to attend the July 1st meeting due to family responsibilities and health issues, I am formally submitting my written response for the record to be appended to tonight's minutes. My goal has always been to encourage transparency. The fact that the board and human resources are only finalizing a framework and intake structure for this search proves that our call for administrative readiness was entirely factual and necessary.
Excuse me, Maria,
yeah.
what are you talking about?
Okay, at the last meeting, if you go back on the July 1st video,
Okay,
I was defamed.
But I think you mean more, I mean,
well,
with the process, we're setting ourselves up to have someone in place for January, but certainly by April of next year.
right,
And I think one thing that is correct is we do need to make sure that we have our process down and before we go public with it.
Well, I was-
We're hardly dragging our heels here in July.
Yeah.
And so it's really important that this stuff gets done and it gets done correctly and that there's one form of communication coming out of the town. And that will be with our HR person and myself. And so I think that to suggest otherwise, in July that we're really dragging our heels and we need someone else to do the work for us is a little disingenuous. But I'm gonna let you go on with what the rest that you have to say and.
I know you weren't here at that meeting.
I've watched it.
You
don't worry,
watched?
yeah,
I
yeah.
was, that's why.
And I'm the person taking the lead with Bev in this,
Oh,
so
okay,
go
great.
on.
So I have already sent in a
I've
letter
read it.
to the town,
Yeah, I've read it.
attorney. I haven't heard
Okay.
back from him. I don't know what how long it takes, if it's gonna take a month or whatever, but.
I don't know that it required a response. It may have, but
Yeah.
it
no, I
doesn't,
haven't
sending a
received
letter
anything.
doesn't mean you get one back necessarily,
No,
but go
I
on, I've read
understand.
it.
And in that letter, I did request that
Okay.
we speak about this and to add it to the agenda.
Mm.
So basically, what happened there is, a total distortion of what I sent over to Connect Cornish. So when they say there was a breach and that I misrepresented myself as a town representative or something like that, which Steve is the one that did all the talking. And he's the one that wrote to Connect Cornish
Mhm.
and gave the information first. Okay, and me making sure that everybody is aware of what was going on. That's why I proceeded to write in Connect Cornish.
Mhm.
Everything was there, was factual. Everything that Steve wrote was there. I didn't make up anything or whatever, that Steve was, talking about me without me being present and without me being able to defend myself and explain exactly why he was saying lies, basically. So.
You know that this is being recorded, right?
Oh, yeah, no, I
Okay,
understand.
I'm just,
It's
just
a lie
making
when
sure.
somebody's calling me deceptive.
And
I
I'm
would
just
not think of
reminding
it.
you
I
that
mean-
you're
I
being
mean-
recorded, so you need to pay
Correct.
attention to what you're
I
saying.
understand.
Okay,
So it is a lie when he said to me at the meeting that I was trying to represent myself as a town representative and my name wasn't there. That is incorrect. And if he talked to Colleen, she would have showed him my submission of that. So my name.
So I
was-
don't, this
there.
isn't, this is not a trial of any sort or
Yeah, no, I
so feel
understand.
free to go on with your letter, but we're not gonna get
Yeah, no,
into
okay, that's fine.
any of it
And
this evening.
So, part of the stuff that I wrote, and Bev also saw it at next door.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote exactly what he said, contact Bev or Amy Lappin.
Laughing.
And, since you don't have an email.
I do
I
have an
put-
email, but for
it's
this
not
process,
listed-
but for
it's
this
not
process,
listed on the
Maria.
town- on the town.
Maria, for this
Yeah.
process, it's very, very important that it all goes through one channel and that people fill out the correct form, which we hadn't approved yet. And I want to stress that it's not sending Amy Lappin, you can send me whatever you want. I'm Amy Lappin citizen. When you send it to me, I'm not Amy Lappin select board. to send something to the select board, I really feel better when it goes through the town. We make sure we all get the same information, not something to each one of us that we may or may not see that ends up in my spam.
I even put,
Maria, so that's why we are following this process. It's
Correct.
very important that people don't, just send something to my personal email, send something to me personally. I want to make sure it gets recorded correctly.
no, I
And
only
so
deal with you.
I'm doing that for
Yeah, I
a
don't
reason.
I don't
a
deal
real
with you on a
reason.
personal level. I
No.
deal with you as a select.
That is correct.
And as
So
a
that's why
selectman,
it's not.
There's no, in other towns, they do have their.
That's
email
fine,
address
but,
and
but,
everything
but,
else.
but I wanna make sure people know, do you know when you talk to me personally about something, you can't say, oh, and I'm not saying you would, but let's say Bev stops me in the street, wants to talk to me about something. Bev can't go around, and I talked to Bev, let's talk, Bev. If she said, well, I brought that to the select board, she didn't bring it to the select board, she brought it to Amy Lappin. You have to have it here in an open meeting if you want it to be part of the select board, or send it into Sarah, that works just fine when you send it to Sarah. I read everything you send to us.
Oh, well, I appreciate that.
But I don't want you to think if you send something to me that you've discussed it with the select board, so that's why I do that
No,
way. I think it's important to know that.
Well, there should be actually one email that all three will get. That might be a
We
suggestion.
do, it goes
We
through
do.
Sarah and she sends it to all three of us,
But
but
they-
go on, there is a process, go
The
on.
labeling
Yeah.
public transparency as misinformation or deception is an unfortunate defection of the cover for an outdated, unorganized administrative framework. Plainfield, we need to continue to encourage open town participation.
Yeah.
When we turn to each other as neighbors to build a better town, we're not going to turn against one another. Our taxpayers deserve a hiring process that is current, professional, and transparent from day one.
100% agree with that, and that's really what we're trying to
Yeah, no,
do,
and
that's all
thank
we're
you.
trying to do, so
You're
thank you.
local. And, to be labeled as deceptive,
Mm.
described as that, and described as all these other things that I'm going like, unfortunately, I was unable to be here on July first.
Mhm.
You should have seen my face, it
Oh,
was
sorry.
swollen and everything with having had a tooth, removed on account of cracked and everything else, so there was no way I could make it here, but I'm here now, so
Great.
I sent all the information over to you and also to the attorney. And that's it. I just don't appreciate, and another thing is, no, everybody that was here at the meeting didn't even say once, well, even Steve said, well, that the attorney had told him he was factually correct. That was part of the,
Okay.
it's in the transcript.
It is,
So
I've watched the meeting and I don't recall that, but it's certainly, but anyway, so,
Like, that was it.
okay.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, and I will stress to everyone, with the last part that you said, I fully agree with, we hope that it is an open and transparent process, we want town participation. And, we are working our hardest to make sure that everyone has a method to do that, not just like, I know Amy, I know Elise, I'm gonna call Elise and say I'm interested in that. We have a form now, and we hope people will fill it out and be interested. Yes, please.
To make an amendment to that.
Okay.
There is a difference between transparency and confidentiality.
Mm.
A lot of the process of hiring requires confidentiality. That's not an attempt to be subversive or to create conspiracies. It is respect for the individual candidates and for the process of hiring. Transparency cannot be 100% transparent when you are dealing with personnel issues. So we're not trying to hide anything, we're trying to be respectful.
Yeah.
For example, job description, that's transparency.
Yes,
That's not.
I do
kept
believe
under
when,
wraps.
and I promise, I'm not arguing with you now, but
Yeah.
I do believe when you put that information out there, we had not, that we hadn't officially approved
Then
it
you
yet.
have
officially
to put it up.
I will not discuss,
Yeah, no,
discussions I've had with Steve, but
Initially.
that's
started
fine.
by them.
I'm just
Yeah.
asking that you make sure what's getting out there is exactly what has been approved by the select
Yeah, well-
board at the time it's been approved, so
This, the town administrator works for you.
I'm
and
not,
He's putting it,
I'm just
Yeah.
asking you though, also,
Yeah.
to just make
So
sure
once the
it's out there.
information is out.
Yeah.
It's public information. It's the same thing where a news item goes on the Valley News and then other newspapers pick it up.
Yep.
It's public information once it's out, and he did put it out. But for him to call me, basically, all the names that he called me, that, at
Yeah,
that last meeting.
I
that's
I don't know,
unacceptable.
I listened to the recording and I
Yeah,
didn't,
no,
I
no.
didn't hear you being called all sorts of names,
I can
but
send you the
but,
transcript.
well, I
Yeah.
watched it.
Oh, no, but
So,
actually,
I was
so
here.
you got it because I sent it to the attorney.
Well, I got it because I wasn't at the meeting and as a select board chair, I watched the meeting. I watched.
Did I
the
do a good
meeting.
job?
Thank you.
You did an excellent job as chair of
Thank
that
you.
meeting. Thank you. Yes. So anyway, we'll move on. Department reports. Steve.
Good
word, Burke.
So for the month of July, so far, we had 80 calls for service, 24 motor vehicle stops, and we deployed our speed feedback device 4 times. We had the 4th of July parade. I think the detours and road closures with the extra signage helped out a lot this year. We need to reevaluate the Westgate Road detour due to traffic congestion with the parade staging there, so we're gonna have to figure something out for next year, so this is less congested. We've already done 4 hours of the grant patrol that we got to go towards our ability to get equipment, so we did another 4 hours last week. Actually, on Saturday, I was out there for 4 hours doing traffic speed enforcement. One thing I want to bring up that I know our citizens are in up in arms about it. I'm in up in
Yeah.
arms about it, is
The construction?
the Main Street closure.
I've heard of people.
I am completely disappointed with the DOT not reaching out to the town to discuss anything as they did with the speed limit changes. To me, this is unacceptable because it affects our infrastructure, our emergency response. And we were left hanging with no knowledge of anything,
Mhm.
how it was gonna be broken down, where it was gonna be shut down, how it was gonna be opened. I think we got something finally today, a press release. But this is unacceptable. The DOT should have met with town officials to have a sit-down meeting to discuss what the plan was, so we can prepare any emergency
Yeah.
response that we needed to do in the event something happened.
Yeah, it was odd. The first I had heard of it was when the postmaster put something in Cornish Connect and I was like, what?
Yeah, that's where I
right?
saw
That's
it.
where I saw it.
too.
I was like,
Yeah.
huh.
Yeah.
I mean, they hold,
And I know it's a state road, right? Like.
What are they
but-
doing anyway?
but they call us to the
That's
carpet when
water,
we had an
sewer.
evacuation drill for the school, we needed to pull a
Right.
permit.
Yeah.
And here they are shutting down Main Street where a post office is without any
Mhm.
discussion with the
And we
town.
have 2 camps going on Main Street.
Yeah.
Right,
Gateway's full of kids running camp, and we have youth
And
at MCC camp.
MCC.
and I think the state has been informed by Kimball Union particularly for a number of years that the catch basin system is not very good.
Sure.
And so I think I don't think this project, and not to defend them, but I don't think this project was on their docket a year ago. I think when they looked at it this year, they said, God, it isn't just bad, it's not functioning. And so they have found money to do, they've actually scaled it back. They were gonna go all the way to the top and they've decided not to do that. But yes, I think.
But
That
they're
doesn't
probably
excuse,
known
that
for
doesn't
why,
excuse,
right? They didn't
excuse their
actually
lack
put
of
out there.
communication.
And they didn't say to Patrick at the post office, hey, can you get the word out? to
Right, I
everybody?"
think they certainly missed a step. I think, you know.
Yeah, big one.
I think the
Spiked
issue
so
for
far.
us is that, you know, we don't want it.
Yeah.
We've been very clear. I mean, they would give you Main Street in a second.
Yeah.
If you wanted it, because it really becomes part of Brook Road, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that's essentially the function it has, but we don't want it.
Yeah.
And they're finally doing some work. I think, you know, talking to Kevin, 3 weeks, they hope to be out of there. They are planning to come back and pave it, which for a while they were just gonna patch it. And so paving it will be good. And so the hope is, I think everybody will be able to get their mail. Most people will learn very quickly, come up through Chalice or come up through Bonner. But if you come from the bottom and you need to get your mail, they're gonna let you through. But if you come Bonner and turn right onto Main Street, you can get to except for the day they're in the in front of the
Yeah.
post office, you're gonna be able to get, so it's poor communication,
Yeah.
but I think it is a project we want, we'll be happy to have it done.
I'm sure we do, right? I do think there was a comment on Facebook today that I saw from a Bonner Road resident who was asking for some support from the police at that time, just getting making sure speeds are, I mean, that's gonna be an awful lot of traffic up Bonner. and
Well,
Thomas.
and
and I
remember,
don't-
with camp, they
yeah.
walk those kids down to use the playground.
Right, oh, yes,
I
yes,
mean,
they
that's
do.
one place where they go
So-
to use the playground, so.
But this is
And I
what
know
I'm
you're
talking about.
stretched thin,
They,
so like, I don't,
this is
you
what
know.
I'm saying, they should
yeah.
have sat down with us to communicate, give us
Yeah,
for a
Plan-
plan.
timeline of events so that we
Right.
can communicate to our citizens
Yeah.
what, you know, when can you go to the post office this way, when
Yeah.
you have to go this way, so that we
Right.
would have knowledge of everything, because we're gonna be one of the answering the calls
Right,
and the complaints about, I can't get my mail today, what am I supposed to do?
right,
It would have just been nice to have some of that transparency we're always talking about,
yeah.
to fill the town in where you're doing this construction and how it's going to affect
Appreciate it.
day-to-day operations.
And I think to the positive, Kevin Mack's doing the work.
Yeah,
And so he's local, he understands the local traffic patterns.
no, and I'm sure they will do their best, right, to
So
make
you
sure
said
it's as
3
open as
weeks
possible.
This is gonna take?
Oh, at least, yes. Yes,
yeah, it would have been nice to have a heads up about that, wouldn't it?
A month long of
Yeah.
Main Street.
right, you know, I mean, KUA, I think, starts bringing the kids back. You know, I mean, it has to be finished up by the time they bring the kids back, because opening weekend is, you know, not a time to be under construction, but yeah, it's, I mean, this isn't gonna be, this isn't gonna be a day or two, it's gonna be a while.
All right, well, yeah, I mean,
Probably.
noted
Anything
the
else going on?
communication at least. could have
No,
been better,
I
right?
think
Oh.
that's,
Yeah, and you know, Ross Wood, who's the district
I
engineer
know,
now,
Yeah,
sits on the planning board, and so, you know, we have lots
I
of.
was wondering who I needed to yell at.
Ross Wood, but I think it's, you know, I think he was away on vacation last week. Obviously, the release didn't get out before he got back, and so. we
and that
posted-
that may not be his job to get
Yeah.
the release out, right? And it's hard when you're in the middle of something, you think you know it, so you think other people know it too.
Right,
So
but
we're not
Eric,
gonna pile on Ross.
right,
but-
Eric,
He's a good sport, he can
but Yeah,
take it.
okay.
you know, Eric has met with people on the street that were working and said, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
And the foreman for the job did call the town office yesterday.
Yeah.
And nobody from the state thinks they've done a good job
Okay.
on this piece.
Again, no.
But they
They will note that that's twice in
Right.
2026.
They do think that they're gonna
Called their
deliver a
attention
product that,
was-
that we'll be happy with,
Yeah.
that we need to have done. So,
Okay, I'm sure we'll be thrilled when it's all
Yeah,
over,
well,
but.
you know,
For more than one reason.
if the water hits the catch basins instead of running down the road, it will
We
be,
won't even,
it'll
yeah,
be an improvement. And
some
so-
of us will never even realize how
That'll
much
be
better
good.
that is, but,
Exactly.
but the paving will be nice. Anything else, Chief?
no, that's it.
Well,
Thank
thank you,
Thanks.
and I'm sorry. Stephanie,
So I have to say, our 4th of July parade was amazing again, and putting the flag at the end of Daniels was just, it gave everybody
It was
goosebumps.
fantastic.
It was, and it did everything that we needed to do. It
It-
shut down the road, it kept it safe, and it really just bring a whole new spectacle to our celebration.
Yeah.
It was fabulous.
No, when I was walking up from, 12 a, into the village, and that flag was there were a few people around me that I didn't know, like, oh my gosh, doesn't that look neat?
Yeah.
Yeah, as they came
Very,
over.
very.
It looked
cool
great.
addition.
Yeah.
It was great,
Yeah.
really good. But, it was wonderful.
It was great.
Community spirit.
It was great.
It was fabulous. I do want to talk, and Bruce and I were talking today. We've got to somehow get Rob involved in the parade. Unfortunately, Rob is always down at Stage Road doing traffic.
Mhm.
And I just feel like we need to make him a part of this. I don't know how we do it, but he's gotta be a part. He's like, how was it? Robbie goes, I don't wanna hear that.
Aw.
So I don't know how we
Okay.
do it as a small town, but we gotta
Make a
think,
note for next year.
yeah.
Make him the grand marshal, then he has to be in it.
You know, and as you
Yeah,
know,
we should- we could
asked
stay
for
Eastern.
state,
I know, and I know they're
and,
short,
and
I
they're,
know.
they're unable, I mean, I think the scariest part of the parade is when you look up the street, see how many people are here, and you know we have 2 officers. That's it,
I know,
right, there's
I know.
2.
But everybody plays nice in the sandbox.
Yeah, we got the fire
Everybody is
department, we
happy.
can always bring those guys in if we have to,
Well, I was
Let's
thinking,
think
a
about it.
couple dump trucks just shut down on either end
right?
and then let you guys be in the.
I do think it will be hilarious if the state sends us an email this year complaining about, the permits for like 12 minutes. And sometimes they say, did you close that down for a little, the state should not do that,
Absolutely.
given Main Street.
I think we've earned a pass with the,
Right. And,
Maybe.
and I don't know what you ever face on the detour end, but we rarely, ever see anybody, you know, you can tell when the Buick Skylark comes along that that's the first car that's been waiting.
Yeah.
But people are genuinely in a good mood. I mean, if they're
They're
really
fine.
mad, turn around and go down River Road.
Right,
You'll be out on 12A in no time.
It's the 4th of July.
I mean,
That's
it-
right, you gotta
but you're right,
celebrate.
it was-
It was fantastic.
And,
so.
and really, much of, all the credit to Dan Canlon.
Oh,
Yeah.
my
That
gosh.
Oh
guy
my
does an
gosh.
amazing, he even got his
Every year.
motorcycle.
I
in.
know, and
Yes,
it's,
cameo.
so it was really good. I'm glad he was able
We
to. participate.
probably-
And Bev, nice job with Stephen Breyer.
Right, we
Yeah.
probably do need to come
Except
up
the
with a
band.
different place for the band.
Yeah,
Like, I think we can't block a lane of traffic and then have Dan Canlon, who is basically in motorcycle gear, directing traffic.
Right,
People
yeah.
are like, what is
What
that?
was that?
And
Yeah,
what's he doing? And I don't really wanna go in that lane, cause that guy tells me I want a guy in a vest
yeah.
Yeah.
telling me that I should go in that lane, but otherwise, yeah,
Yeah,
knock it out of the park.
fabulous.
yeah.
When,
Fabulous.
when you've got people backed
The
up,
weather
it means it's a
cooperative.
good time,
It's a
right?
good
It's
time.
happening,
Yeah.
it's, and Briar loves it. He loves
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
It was
cool.
just
Good job.
great job from
It's cool,
everybody,
yeah.
really good. Tomorrow is our community luncheon over at the Willowbrook Farm. Bruce and I were there setting up picnic tables in the outdoor arena where we will have four-legged friends milling around while people are having
Aw.
lunch, which is gonna be so fun.
What could go wrong there?
Well, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be
Right,
great.
big horses, people
They're
eating
just
lunch.
ponies, they're gonna be.
Oh, all right, so these are like
Yeah,
the
and-
horses' pets.
It's really cute, cause
Horse
Liz's
apples.
mom, Marianne lives with her.
Mhm.
And she has been a horse lover and she tries to come to the luncheons, but her mobility is challenging at times, but she's cutting up carrots tonight. So that the guests can give the horses
Oh,
carrots during the
perfect.
luncheon.
We're
So-
going to
All
keep
kinds
the
of
thumb
friends.
Flat hand, that's right. So it'll be a great time. It's at 12 noon. Hopefully people can head over. We had 72 at our barbecue, so we're shooting for the moon.
Woo.
It's wonderful, wonderful. MCC camp and PES skills camp are growing great. Kids are having a wonderful time. If you drive by during the afternoon, you'll see kids on rocks with cones and, you know, blowing horns. And I've been dropping off watermelons and there's always water play. So everybody's really having a
Is,
great time.
is it a 1-year change with Circus Camp at KUA? Is it because of the construction?
I believe so,
You know.
yeah, because the whole wing that's. being
Right, I
put
mean,
up,
they
they
usually
built
set the
fields.
tent up right there
Yeah,
where the
yeah.
construction
So I'm
site
sure
is.
that's why it's up there. Food pantry's open this weekend, Friday, Saturday, 9 to 10:30 at Grace Community Church. And Langwood Farm event is coming up on August 27th. That is our combined Cornish and
Oh, right.
Plainfield Community Luncheon, Bloods Seafood and Catering.
Mhm.
Will be our host, which is really great. Thank you to the Millar Fund for a nice $3,000 scholarship to help with that. You do need reservations to be on that guest list. So that we only have enough for 100 seats and we will have a surprise activity that day.
Wow, okay.
It'll be fun. Anyway, all is well. Thanks.
Great, thank
Thanks,
you.
Steph.
So, as you know, the fire department goes and surges, so we're on the 15th day
Oh,
of
no.
July, and we've had 11 calls this month already.
Oh,
So we've had 3 fire alarms, we've had 2 trees we cut out of River Road for Richie,
That
most
was
of it,
nice of you.
no wires, but just trees. We had a tree come down on a car that was driving up 12A. He was
Timing
fine.
is everything.
Timing is everything, it hit the top of his windshield and that little vein on the top of the car that there's an antenna or something to clean that off, but he was fine, and you could see the driveway from the accident scene, so he was fine. 4th of July, I went and pulled a propane stove out away from the wall and shut it off down by the floor, so she wouldn't have to have a 4th of July emergency propane call, so she, had them come out on Monday. We had, someone push the emergency button in the elevator at the Plainfield
Mhm.
Library. Also on the 4th of July, we had a smoking e-bike, battery
oh, yeah. I
in the
read
garage.
about that.
And then later that night, one of Kent's neighbors tried to catch the field on fire with fireworks. I was out before we got there. It's just they put too many of those pancake fireworks up in the same spot and burnt a little 2-foot square. And then, this morning, we went to the tree that got blown up with, lightning at 3 o'clock in the morning up on Dodge Road. So that was still burning this morning at 8 o'clock. So a variety
Mhm,
of, calls, a little bit of everything.
mhm.
Also today, I may have noticed mentioned it before, but Scott Kruger started picking up the 4 donated cars to us for auto extrication from Barbara Alafat.
Mhm.
So he's draining all the fluids out and we're storing them down at the annex. And actually, that was the Cornish guy that we might not get to a auto extrication drill until September, because August is full with Cornish Fair and Spirit Weekend and everything else, touch a truck. So we have those 4 cars. I did a visit to the school, so the school got their plans certified by the fire marshal's office, minus the sprinkler system and the fire alarm. That was delayed at the time. So the sprinkler guy called me up wanting to meet, and I said, well, this has to be approved by the fire marshal's office because it's an educational facility. But I met with them and they're going, this is such a small project. They're adding 1 room with 4 sprinkler heads.
Yeah.
So I gave them the go ahead to do the work. They're working on it this week and not wait for 2 or 3 weeks for it to get through Concord. Cause I don't want to delay school just because
Yeah,
you're waiting for a signature. And like I say, it's a real simple project. And, one of the 2nd grade rooms, I guess they used to have a tarantula thing. So for some reason, there was a sprinkler head that was built into a bookcase that was this tall, and then the bookcase is gone. So it's just been a sprinkler head right head level. So while they're there, I convinced them to just get rid of that sprinkler head.
okay.
So that was a visit to school. On July 3rd, our engine one went over to Dingy Machine for a day of repairs over there, so they're still working on that. And on Tuesday, Sable and Son's gonna come look at it. So sometimes you'll be driving along, you put it under load, and all of a sudden, we call it bark, and go, and a bunch of black smoke comes out. So it's got either an injector problem or something that is, you have to have the right testing tools to hook up. So I feel it's a little over Richie's head, so we're just gonna have Sable come down with a planned site visit. I did nothing to help this out, but the AT&T boosters are installed at both fire stations. I don't know if they got the one in Meriden working yet or not.
Great.
No.
The window headed towards the garage doesn't have enough cell signal because it's taking a weak signal and boosting it, so they're having to move it across the room to the south side because the tower's down in Cornish. So I was worried about the Plainfield side, but it's actually the
This is
Meriden.
Maryland.
And Rob says if you stop someone at the deli, you have to move like 100 feet up the road to get. So it's the typical little dead spot right where everything happens.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That's really it for the fire department. It's been busy. So it was 96 is the total for the year so far. So we had 130 all of last year, so we're way ahead.
Wow.
Let's hope,
Business is too good.
Business is too good. And it gets lonely. So this morning for the tree, thank God Rob was actually on that side of town. So before I got to the station, he radioed to bring the UTV because it was just me from the 12A side.
yeah,
And Ryan McGraw just came off a 36-hour shift for the city of Lebanon on that fire department. So he brought the engine over. So just the 3 of us
wow.
that responded to the trees. Everyone else is working. I mean,
A plug for more volunteers.
volunteers that don't work. I don't know.
I know, it's hard.
I have a
I mean, it's always been a problem, right?
Gotta work.
It's always.
Saw that,
it's
saw
always-
that 4-wheeler go by fast.
I realized I was doing about 47 miles an hour by your house, Deb, and then just coming to the crest of the hill, I said, oh, I'm gonna slow down before I pitch over that hill. Yeah,
Catch some air.
the lights were on.
Well, thank you.
The light was on.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Chris.
thank you for all you do. We have no Richie and no Brad with us this evening.
Right, Brad's on vacation and Richie was really beat from another day in the humidity, but, I've been talking to you guys about some of the projects he's
Yep.
been working on and that sort of thing.
And they were mowing roadside on.
I saw them
Yeah,
mowing,
yeah, he's got, Sean's out mowing. They've done a nice ditching project up on Dodge Road.
They were
Which is,
about Methodist yesterday.
yeah, doing the shoulders for the part that Enfield paved with our permission, our section and Lebanon section with their permission.
Mhm.
But we all were responsible to do our own shoulder work, so Rich has got that done. He's, and so we are gonna, kind of do an old school grading experiment up on Croydon Turnpike next week. And see if that helps and hopefully get him some support for the neighborhood who
Mhm.
thinks it's a good idea. I think he's got that stuff going in the office, I'll let Brad tell you all the things he's nudging along
Yeah.
at next meeting. But we had a good meeting today where I think over the final hump on the .gov project, which was
Oh,
how to
right.
include the police department in that, or to make them a separate project.
Mhm.
I think we came to some compromises. There's a lot of detail and a lot of acronyms from computer geeks that none of us will understand. But the one thing I came away from with a really good feeling about, because it was the first time I'd seen him other than in this conference room, just talking to us, is I think Brian Davis, who's our new IT person, and his partner in the project, in the business, was the IT person for the city of Lebanon for 30 years.
Yeah,
He's gonna be great. He really knows the stuff.
mhm.
It was kind of fun to watch the computer geeks spar with each
Mhm,
other,
mhm.
how the .gov people would do it, how Brian would do it. But I think Plainfield's gonna be, and I think he will become the IT person for the PD, or, you know, then we'll have
Yeah,
everything in one. Right now, we split that. And so we will be migrating to Office 360 and to all the hardware and stuff that's necessary for that. And eventually, all our emails will be .gov
Yeah.
emails. I mean, that's the hope, and I mean, this all paid for with a federal grant that
That's
covers
great.
the first 3 years of the project. It's a little bit, we'll decide, we'll see how big the grant is. The money for all 3 years comes at once. And so
Oh.
you either have to set up an accounting reservation for each
Yeah.
of the years. The reality is we're gonna have a bunch of hardware purchases
Yeah,
to do with the upgrades.
Yeah.
So the money just may get used. And
Pretty
then,
fast.
and then we'll budget what we need to for the future years. But, I think that project is going along well. The ad's gonna run in the Valley News in the next couple of days, saying that we're gonna remove 8 cars from the Nick Cohen property.
Okay.
And if you think you have a reason to be involved in the Nick Cohen property, you ought to come see us.
There's
Uh,
8? I didn't realize there were that many.
It's hard to imagine you could stuff 8 on that
Yeah.
little piece of property, but there
Yeah,
are
glad we're
8.
doing this.
And I think we have a lead on people that will help us do that at nominal cost. The chief and his crew of one might have to help with, holding traffic out of Stage Road while they pull them out.
With
But
pleasure.
but the goal will be to get all the cars out of there by the time the summer's over. And,
Great.
and so Barry approved an ad that's in the paper, and
Yeah.
we sent it to the bank. Told them, the property's gonna be lien for the full cost
Yeah.
of the project. So that's moving along nicely. And, I mean, I think Michelle got water bills out. That's been done.
Right.
And, Brad will give you an update on the remote readers and where the district is. But, generally, we're some remote at the town office, and I think we're doing fine.
Can I just, New Hampshire Public Radio has a program where anybody can donate a car,
Oh.
they come and pick it up. That's not, it
Yeah,
wouldn't cost anything to the.
Yeah, I
town.
think
Oh, they
these
have
are
to
cars,
donate.
these are cars beyond that.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, not according to the,
No one on the planet
yeah,
wants
you
these
don't want,
cars.
you don't want.
These cars are headed
Yeah.
right,
okay.
maybe cars.
Six of the-
generous
right,
description.
6 of the 8 are headed right to the crusher.
But
There-
thank you, you're right,
Yeah.
that-
there
yeah,
might
You
be
can
2.
donate for, need, you're right.
you're right, yeah.
Yeah.
There are other parts, so thank you for that reminder.
Excavation,
No,
No.
I just signed a document for 4, and Cornish, already has 2 for this fall, so,
But first, thanks you for the suggestion.
yeah.
And now, I think we have our, next on our agenda is Beth with the, update on the town administrator search.
Sure, was in your packet.
Yes.
That, I've done drafts of all the different places that I intend,
Yes.
hopefully tomorrow. To get everything posted and get going on that, and if you have any changes, let me know.
I actually like that you gave the different locations a different personality.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, because I think that it was appropriate to the location that you were posting it in.
So I do have a question for
Yes.
you. When we started on Facebook, there were 3 of us that were kind of administering that
Right.
site, and I do, whenever you see a new picture.
Yeah.
It's usually me who just does that.
Yeah.
Like a
And
profile picture.
the profile
Yes,
picture,
yes.
yeah. I don't post on behalf of the town. I
Right.
might cross-post something, but, so I do want to put it on Facebook, but I probably want to put it with a picture and that says we're hiring or something like that. And I didn't know whether you want me to do it or whether you want Steve to do it.
Or either me or not me, but you or Mike, I think.
I was gonna say, I mean, I think we're
Yeah,
trying our
I'm
hardest to
trying
kind
not
of
to be
keep
involved.
Steve out of it.
Correct,
This
and
isn't
that's
his
why
role.
I just wanted to be sure I had the authority to do.
I would say yes, because you're asking very specifically that you want to post this on, and I don't have any issue with that.
Have you got NHMA on the list too?
I'm sorry,
And New Hampshire Municipal Associations
yeah,
classified ad,
Yeah.
that's in your list, good,
that's on my list.
good.
Yeah, yeah, I
Um,
think so.
So,
And then we'll be ready for.
I just wanted to make
comments.
sure, I didn't want to do it without permission to do
No, and I
that.
appreciate that,
And
but I have no
then,
problem with.
I
And probably
also,
Mike on the website. The town
Yes.
website.
Oh, yes,
I mean,
Mike,
he-
and Mike
he-
can do that.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
handles that, I mean,
He
he knows
actually-
that better than we do. So-
actually, I don't know if you've noticed, but, he's added a page called employment.
I saw in your email that.
Yes,
you
that's
what I
saw
mentioned
that you
that, but I
So
didn't go
this will go
investigate.
under, I asked him if he would add a page because you've got a bookkeeper, you've got a town administrator.
Yeah,
You might want to put the mechanic
I
on
was gonna
there.
say.
Things are
You
moving
know,
and shaking in this town.
Anything, you
yeah.
know,
Couple police officers would be
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
there you
We
go.
all sorts of positions.
Right, we don't want to give the wrong impression.
Right, right, but I think it's nice, it's up there, it's on the front page, that it's one of.
Yeah, I think
I want
it
to.
existed, but people were having trouble finding it.
I never
so-
could find
So
it.
Mike,
Yeah.
Mike worked with
Yeah.
Municipal
Yeah.
One and brought it up where you
So-
can see it more easily.
Yeah.
So that, and then the other thing that I do want to, I just wanted to give you an update. I've had 8 people express interest.
Excellent.
I've had 3 actual applications.
Okay, which is
Okay.
the key, people. So
Yes.
those who are
And I'm
listening.
going to, contact the
Yeah.
other folks the other 5 and let
And
them know
encourage
that.
them to fill out an
Yeah.
application.
And most of them have said they will, they just
Yeah.
haven't seen it
Yeah.
yet. And I'll come back to that in a second.
Okay,
But, I'm ready to, oh, and Mike also set up an email called recruitment@plainfieldnh.org. And that's being forwarded to my personal email. I
Mhm.
just wanted it to be
yeah,
simple
I
for
saw that,
everybody.
great, yes.
And, I think that that's gonna work great.
Great.
But, I also want everybody to know that, any applicants that come in to recruitment@plainfieldnewhampshire.org are only coming to me. They're not going to be seen by anybody
That whole
else.
confidentiality.
Yeah,
thing
it's
is
important, yeah.
important.
I think that's it for the posting, as long as you think we're ready to go.
I think we're ready
I
to
was
go.
pleased
Okay.
with what you had presented,
Okay.
so.
Yeah.
Then the next thing that I wanted to talk about, a little bit was about the committee, and we had
Yeah,
some discussions about that last
And I
time, about
listened to the-
drawing
yeah, I
out of a
listened
hat
to it.
and things. So I had,
Yeah.
I did a lot, I
I have
stayed
some
awake one
questions
night
myself,
thinking about this, and I said, how can we do this? How best can we do this? And, if I get all of the applicants and I take them and I take the information without the names,
Mhm.
Mhm.
but I only have the necessary information, like you mentioned, male versus female.
Yeah.
So I should know. Whether they are or not, so that could be one column, and then the answers to the questions about interest and
Yeah.
motivation, perspective. Community representation, relevant experience, evaluation skills. There were like, I think, 5, 6 different categories.
Mhm.
I can black out anything that would give you any indication about who it was, like,
Yeah, identity specific
yeah,
stuff.
and then you would just get, and I just did a sample and I can provide this to you. It would be a spreadsheet like this where you could score the different ones, but it wouldn't have names.
Yeah,
And then you would select that, and then this would be the criteria that you'd use to do that. So I
I
It's an idea.
And I think it's a good one, and let's give it a shot to look at it. I did watch, as I mentioned, the video of our last meeting that I wasn't at. And I fully appreciated what Kent was saying about making it sort of this blind process. But I think there is a reason we're asking people to tell us a little bit about why, there's a
Right.
little more to it. Otherwise, let's just ask for names and pull them out of a hat. And I
Right.
don't think that's gonna get us necessarily the strongest committee, and there may even be people who want to do it who won't be, who would be good at it in many ways, but we can't have everybody on the committee. And we want to make sure, and it's not just, oh, I've lived here for 55 years and
Right.
because I think we want to mix the people who've lived here a long time and people who are new and people who have a variety of reasons to want to be
I'd
on
like
the
to
committee.
achieve as much balance as we
I
can.
do think we need some balance, and I fully appreciated what Kent was saying, but I thought, I like this approach that it's,
And I'm more than
Not-
willing to share with everybody. I mean, it's not much to look at,
yeah.
but,
I did have a
Yeah.
question because I
Yeah.
left, because you went into private and then we left.
They did, yeah.
Okay, so
And then
I wasn't here for the
The second part of the public.
Right.
Yeah,
So I had a question, as a department head,
mhm.
yes,
I didn't fill out
that's
a
right.
form. But
Because
because I
it-
didn't know if, as a department head, we would have an opportunity to then meet. the
So
candidates.
that's this sheet.
I
Thank
jumped
you
the
for that.
gun, sorry.
Thank you for that.
So-
Sarah.
We had all said that we were gonna have two different advisory groups,
Yep.
and one was, a variety of citizens, and one would be like, they could be department heads, it could be committee chairs too.
It may be, yeah.
And what I did for you was I highlighted the people that did it last
Oh,
time.
good.
And then just put down all the people that I could think that would be in, the type of people that you'd want to have meet with. the
It went
candidates.
really
And-
well too with our
I
police
thought
chief,
so.
and the candidates that we ended up seeing as the select board were really great.
Yes.
So,
And they
and
really
again,
did a
I
nice
would
job.
say no more than 7 on either one, and
Well, right,
if we have some extras, we'll keep them as alternates. God forbid something happens to somebody.
and even 7 is a lot.
7 is more than what we had.
7
We
is a
had-
lot, and it's a
we had
lot for the
5.
candidate, to come and.
Yeah, I'm
but
okay
we
with,
may.
I'm okay with 7.
7's probably our
you know,
max, I would
But
say,
if
yeah.
somebody doesn't show, somebody else is gonna have to leave, so we have an odd number,
That's true.
but, so anyhow,
Of course, that relies on us getting 7 people who
Yeah.
wanna be on the committee.
Yeah.
We
That
think
fill
we
out the
have it,
form, yeah.
right? We think we have.
well,
it,
I
but
mean, we've made clear what the time commitment
Yeah.
is, we've made clear,
It's really interesting to do the
where
work.
and I'm not having the meetings with the candidates here.
Yeah.
The first time around, they'll be at one of the libraries.
Yeah.
So, it's all, again, confidential.
Yeah,
So, any questions?
yeah. And I will
Okay.
just remind people who are following this process closely, and I'm really, glad people are, but that some of that confidentiality isn't protecting the town as much as it's protecting our potential candidates, some of who may not be telling their current employers that they're looking for work. So when we talk about confidentiality around this, it's
Right,
not, it's not on our process as much as it is for people
Right.
who want to explore coming to us.
so
And
we're
sometimes
gonna
we
have
forget
to,
about that.
we're gonna have to put the meetings, we're gonna have to warn
Yes.
meetings.
Yep.
And then when we meet with the candidates, we're gonna have to go into executive session and then come out.
Yeah.
And all that. So,
Well, thank you.
So, if you want, you can, I'm okay with sorry, I didn't get it to you ahead of time.
And it's August 15th, deadline for August, it was the middle of August
It
for
is
the people who want,
resumes.
for people who want to
um,
participate on our
let's see,
committee
application window.
was August.
The review for the rubric was for August 22nd. Resume review and shortlisting.
Oh, I mean, for the
August one.
people, for the residents of Plainfield who are interested still in being on the advisory committee, I thought their applications were due to us
18th.
in August. And I want to say
August
them.
22nd is what I.
Okay. Okay, I knew it was middle of August, and so we will,
Yeah. And then the resume review ends on about September 5th and
okay. Yeah, it's moving along. It feels far away, but it is not.
yeah,
Did you say that you had sent the committee characteristic rubrics in the email? Cause I didn't notice them in the email.
well, they were on the charter. On the application.
Okay,
the
so long
question.
as I still have your email,
Yeah,
I have that.
yeah.
Okay,
But you can take how I took the charter and the application and made it into this rubric right here that you would
okay,
fill out. The first line is a sample. And then this is the criteria you're looking for. If they're excellent, they get a 5. If they meet expectations, they get a 3. And if they're limited, they're a 1. So
okay.
anyhow, there you go.
And we will be, all three of
I
us
think I
looking
made
at
5
those.
copies.
Ken, you and I are all gonna
That's,
look through that. I'm just wanna make sure our process is out there, right? So that once we get all the applications, that it
For
will
the
be the
committee.
3 select board members who are filling out these rubrics
Correct,
and getting them back to you,
correct.
so. Without,
But I'm going to keep
but you are going
everything
to, yes,
confidential on who the people
yeah,
are.
we will just,
So that you're judging.
and we will do it
on what they
separately,
have
so
submitted.
that what I have to say about a candidate may be very different than what Kent or Elise
Yeah.
has to say about the candidate, but you will.
So this is
Right.
what the rubric would look like. This is what your criteria would be. This was the department head. I mean, I hope I didn't miss anybody, but I went back. and
almost
town
lost my
report. There you go. Here we go.
Just call me Grace.
I'm so glad you're okay.
Me
Glad there
too.
was a wall there to stop you.
Yeah, there's more than one. I'm like,
I'm just
I'm sharing it with you, but you can have your own.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Okay, this is good. I don't
Yeah.
necessarily wanna review this now. But I did wanna have it on.
And
here
we can
for-
discuss it at your next.
Well, you
meeting
know,
as well.
yeah, we'll be meeting before,
Yeah,
we
Yeah.
have a public meeting before we get to this, but, oh, and here's our draft. Yes, thank you so much for all of this.
oh, yeah,
I'm
It's appreciated.
cutting a lot of trees these days.
Well, I appreciate it. Something like this is helpful for me to see.
yes.
Yeah,
And
And I promise to recycle it when we're done.
I can.
there we go.
what do you want these with the minutes?
Yeah, I mean,
There's nothing,
we haven't voted on it. You
Yeah.
can put it in the minutes as a proposed draft that was shared with us. You know, this is not, none of this is said and done. It's our proposal that we are in favor of so far, but yeah,
yeah, but do take a look and,
absolutely.
you know.
Yep, absolutely. All right, next on our list with a
Thank you, Beth.
bookkeeper.
Yeah, I just wanted to have a quick conversation. The period for applications closes Friday.
Yes.
We have 3
Mhm.
that we know of. I expect we may get more. And while I am sure that the process we would involve, you know, meeting with the person in the town office.
Yeah.
With Sarah, who will
Mhm.
be working closely, maybe Ann, but certainly Michelle and myself. I didn't know how much involvement you guys want in the bookkeeper hiring process. And so do you want, I mean, we're gonna have 3. And
Yeah,
obviously more people in the hiring process, making the decision. Provides cover for everyone, right? Because it's, you know, you always have people, this by definition, these are local people and not all of them are gonna get the job. And so some will be disappointed or maybe happy, who knows, once they see it. But I just trying to figure out what, you know, Friday it ends. It's a
Yeah.
part-time position that's gonna be 8 to 10 hours a week, but a fairly important part-time
Mm.
position. It's, and you know, and I think. So what involvement, I mean, we wouldn't hire anybody without talking to the Board of
I
Selectmen,
mean,
but do you wanna be?
generally, we haven't been part of,
Yes, I'm
hiring,
just asking the question.
you know, unless it was a department.
You know, I
head
think, I mean,
position.
we would in non-public session share the 3 names or the
Yeah.
5 names, whatever it is by
Yeah.
Friday. and give you our impressions of what
And
we.
it feels solidly within the town administrator's role to hire this
Yeah.
position
I just-
and do
yeah.
it. But if you're asking, if you're saying I would love to have a select board member on your committee, you know, certainly we can discuss who's
nosy.
available.
Yeah, I
At
mean-
least would love to do it,
Okay.
but,
So maybe
But-
maybe
but-
what I'll
so
do is
you-
I'll let Elise know the dates that we're gonna meet with people. You know,
yeah.
it's gonna be one day or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
It's not-
yeah, and if she can do all three, I don't think the select board needs to be involved at that level.
But
If it's-
Elise,
If you're
but
looking for
Elise wanted to
another,
join us, that would be
if you're
great.
looking for somebody and apparently that's you.
One of the things I'll
I'm
talk to Bev about in more detail outside of this meeting is at least in one of the cases, it's not an individual but a service. And I
Okay.
think I tend to think a person is better
Well,
in this role, but
it's
I don't
something you
know,
can-
you know, but we'll.
Mull over.
I'll share the 3 with Bev or the 5 with Bev, whatever it is, you know, my guess is we haven't gotten anything in a couple days, so I'm
You
guessing.
never
it's,
know.
You know, it may be running its course.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think any one of the 3 could do an excellent job for us, so that's the good news.
That's.
And so the hope would be to get that person in here sometime in early, you know, mid-August. And I was gonna say early, but early August is gonna come very quick, as we're about to find out. And so, and then we'll start that training with them. I've talked to MRI, who will also bring somebody down to help with the training. You know, we
Okay.
can teach them how to be functional, but we want them to be proficient in the software. And
Right.
we're barely proficient ourselves, because it's brand new. Right, and so let them understand, and, you know, we'll have more of an update, but I just wanted to
No, I
let you know
appreciate
that it
that.
ends on the 17th, we've got 3. We'll develop some internal process, absolutely have to have, you know, Sarah involved in
Oh,
it,
yeah.
you know, key person for Sarah, key person for Ann, they'll be working together, and, you know. One of the things I'm gonna lean on MRI about is understanding the division of roles. You know, the town administrator will still have a significant job here, because that person's in charge of the finances of the town. It's
Right.
not like we're, you know, what we're trying to do is get some of the
Like the
work.
real-
So the clerical work,
Right.
into, you know, we would love somebody that would become, one of our strengths in our office is Michelle's knowledge of the New Hampshire retirement system.
Oh,
And
yeah,
interacting with the New Hampshire retirement system with payroll. The new bookkeeper needs to learn that, and take that role over, because Michelle doesn't need to be doing that, she just has that skill. And can do it, and that's more complex than you would think. But again, good candidates, and we'll have an update for you at our next meeting. Or a meeting. One of the things I wanted to ask you guys about, and we've tried to work this every week, but Sunday, and we just, it can't.
Mhm.
And so the reality is, and I just want to get a calendar up here, I'm not checking my Facebook page, make sure I get a like on something. If we see. In theory, I think everybody's back, I think Kent is back after this week.
Yeah, so
You know,
that's
that-
August 5th.
Right, the next week is August 5th, I am
You're
going.
going away.
I'm going to be fulfilling a lifelong dream to see
Oh.
where the Edmund Fitzgerald spent. We're going to the Upper Peninsula. I have a Edmund Fitzgerald
We all have. our-
fetish.
we all have our
And
things
so
to
we're going to kayak through the Sault Ste. Marie Canal and locks, and we're doing a 10-hour train trip, which is kind of interesting, but Michelle's at home, Melissa's at home working right now on the details.
Okay,
And so I'm not here August 5th, but the reality is the town of Plainfield's gonna have selectmen's meetings without me very soon. And so you can meet on the 5th,
yeah,
or we could meet on the 6th. We will be back the 5th. But it'll be late in the day, and I probably won't have anything to add to a meeting. So it's up to you, or we could meet the 29th and call that the 5th.
hey, you're confusing me.
Well, it's that we could meet so
I'm here on the 5th.
I'm not
I'm
here,
in the 5th too, I mean,
so
I
let's
think
meet
we'll
the
be
5th.
okay.
Yeah,
You may need to show us.
yeah, I'll get you,
Setting this all up.
right, I'll get you before we go, I can post an agenda and all of that.
Yeah,
And
it's
somebody
somewhat
will
limited
have to
in
take
what
a
we
few
do.
minutes, and if you just take them in Word format or whatever,
Yeah.
we can grab them from you when we get back. So it's
Why are you
easier,
looking at me?
well, you're around more. If we keep to the normal schedule, I think that's
I think that's
easier.
helpful, and you know, there may be things we just can't do without you
Right,
here,
well,
but I
we'll-
think we'll be okay, and
Well, and if we have to pull together for something that's not related to on the fifth, you can have a meeting in 24 hours and we can just get together. you
Yeah,
know,
and that may happen during this process.
Yes,
But we'll make sure that it's warned and people know.
right. I mean, it is the reality of summer. So people take their vacations and,
Yeah, it'll be nice for you to miss one.
oh, you can't imagine my thoughts.
I can.
Okay, yeah, maybe you can.
There's a planning board thing that I wanted to let people know
Oh.
about. That do we have an official, scheduled hearing for the master plan?
Well, I think we're gonna decide that Monday night based on Eric's site. I mean.
But
So,
it's
the
like-
planning board is nearly done with its draft
Wow.
master plan.
Yes.
You never wanna say you're done because the public hearing might
Right.
change things, but
That's
we've
been
had
an
some
awful
great.
lot of work.
Yeah, well, and Eric
Eric
Sutphen has
Sutphen.
taken the
Oh,
job
my
of
God.
taking everybody's language and making it one voice.
Yeah.
Which, and so I think on Monday's meeting, to your point,
Okay.
Monday's meeting, we're gonna set those dates. And then there'll be a public hearing sometime in August on
Great.
the adopted master. And Mike Sutherland, we always say Mike Sutherland leads 5 times in the selectmen's meeting.
Ugh.
He's involved with getting it up on the web and getting it in
Yeah.
a format that the web can use. It'll be like the last master plan in that it'll be pretty much web-based.
Yeah.
The other thing to do, and I think Elise, you would agree, if you haven't and you just can't watch another YouTube video or a Facebook reel, go to the town's conservation page,
Yeah,
Conservation Commission page, the NRI document that they've done, they spent real money, they spent
Yeah,
$18,000,
It's really cool.
$19,000. But it is a very defined natural resource inventory
yeah.
that there's an interactive piece to it, there's a ton of information there, the company they hired did a great job. That will become essentially the natural resource chapter of the master plan, I mean, it practically in its entirety does that job. But it's a really neat web link, and again, Mike helped.
and
get
it's
that.
right on our page.
Yeah, if you go right,
Goes to the
I think you
Conservation
can
Commission.
find it in several places, but I know you can find it on the conservation page.
A lot of really
Oh, a
interesting.
few years ago, we weren't even sure the Conservation Commission was
Right.
gonna,
Right, no.
make it, and
Well,
that's great to see. them
And
so
to go
active.
back to Michael, cause I just can't put enough plugs in. He single-handedly essentially did the very first one, the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah,
And, the one they just did, I think cost $18,000. And it is, Mike would say it's deeper, it's more involved.
Mhm.
His at zero cost worked pretty well for a bunch of years.
Yeah.
And so, but the new one is really nice. And, yes, we do have a very functioning conservation commission.
Great.
Megan Chapman's a great chairperson, and she's got some folks that have been on the committee for a number of years, and they also have resource. They have the conservation fund, and the forestry maintenance fund, but the conservation fund is where the cash comes for
Yeah.
these sorts of projects, and so, all good,
I will
but
take a
yes,
look.
Monday night's a big
Monday
plan.
night, we set the date.
We set the
Okay.
date and we'll get it out there to folks.
Ben, have a quick
I-
had more.
I went to a New Hampshire Preservation Alliance workshop, and one of the questions that came up was on the Northern Borders money and how to get involved in that. And one of the things I found out was it was the Lake Sunapee Commission, that if you want to get involved in getting money from the next
Mhm.
round,
Mhm.
that they're the ones that are the ones to do that. And we were talking about historic properties, and one of the things we were talking about was the store in Plainfield.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
for example,
Yeah.
and they said that there could be some tax credit money available to help with the purchase, if somebody was interested in doing that, so I forgot about.
That's good to know.
I mean, one of the economic development pieces or community
Yeah.
development pieces that we're faced with is that. After many years of being reopened again for something, not
Yeah.
everybody agreed with what they did there, but it was open, it was used. The store being closed again, the armory, the whatever, the building just being shuttered isn't great for the center of Plainfield Village.
Mhm.
And I have not heard, the planning board for several months met informally with Chris Rollins. The Plainfield Community Church feeling as though its membership had dropped and its finances were perilous enough that selling the parsonage might be
Oh.
required. And so
Yeah.
And so, you know, you have
The
a very,
subdivision of it is a real disaster.
you have a very complex
Yeah.
land use pattern there. You have the parsonage, the church, the Corey Tabor Field, which most people think is a town park.
Right.
It's owned by the church. It's not a town park.
Yeah.
And the store, and they all use the Corey Tabor Field
Yeah.
for their septic systems. They're all buried under the field. And so as you look at the different, you know, everybody looks at the Plainfield store and says, you know, apartments, right? It needs to be apartments. Well, it's very complex to turn that whole building into apartments because you need a.
Well, septic.
Without public, we have public water, but no public sewer there. But, you know, for Plainfield Village, it functions and looks the best in my mind when all those buildings, you know, we went through a period of time when some of the houses weren't being used and they're all back now. The Grange building got, you know, a lot of work got done at the Grange. And so it would be wonderful and for the community to find some use, you know, I think the current owner is happy to sell. He's anxious to sell. He would work a deal to sell. But it's a big building to try to find a use for, but it is
Yeah.
right in the middle of our village.
Yeah, and there's no parking.
Right.
So my thought was that with the church and the store, the town hall. Is it a Main Street project? Is there money to help multiple?
Mhm.
I don't know. I've been looking and I haven't found anything, but if anybody hears of anything.
Pantry, health
Yes.
closet.
Right?
Yeah, but I mean, yeah. Oh, you mean the store? Yeah, oh, yeah.
You know, it was our bank, it was our post office, it was our general store, and the owner lived above it. And did all those roles, but the world has changed, and that, you know, it's just a big
It's a
building.
wide open space downstairs where the armory was.
Mhm.
It's wide open.
Right.
Open concept, which is very handy.
You know, I think of the days when the lady that was so well respected in physical therapy did it in the Atwater building, you know, people would.
Carol.
Carol Edvin, you're happy to drive down into Plainfield Village because your therapist is there and you have to
Yes.
go see them for exercise or whatever it was, but.
Every-
You know, some use, yeah, everybody had a knee, an ankle, a shoulder,
Yeah.
something, but anyways, that is I think. Figuring out,
Interesting.
like the Cohen property, figuring out what the town's role is.
Yeah.
There is
Right. but-
is hard, but
it's-
clearly, I think there's more precedent for towns being involved in economic development, you know, trying to get that building used again would be great.
Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
guess we were gonna, for the town hall, we were gonna talk to the, Lake Sunapee.
Yeah, Megan Butts
Yeah,
is the executive director up there, and she
Yeah,
could
so
certainly
she's great.
let you know.
Find out some more about it.
The other thing that, related, because I thought of Megan, just as an update. I got a very nice call today from Chuck Weira, and he would like, we may have to spend some money, but everything's costs some money. He would like to, before April, finish the deal, do a deal. And I don't know what he expects, if he wants anything, but there would be some engineering costs to expand the right of way for River Road across his property. You know, something he and I have been talking about for a number of
Yes.
years. The river's gonna fall in there. It's not gonna fall in the river. It's just gonna tumble down to Summers
Yeah.
Falls. Which is right on the edge of the river where the material will end up.
But if we can
But-
proactively.
Right, like was done down in Moynihan's 20 years ago, or 40 years ago, it would be great to get that right of way for the
Yeah.
future select board.
Yeah.
You're not gonna build a river road until you have to,
But
and
having that,
having the right of way would save
Yeah.
a year of the road
as
having an
we
issue.
know.
And the
from-
Weiras are open to it, and they're open to working with us to do it,
Okay.
and so they'd like to get it done by April, and I've encouraged that.
So that
What
is
is-
something you'll put on.
Well, yeah, what I think
And our future
what I
agenda.
think I'll do is
Yeah.
I'll get town engineer to
Yes.
go down and try to develop a plan for how much. What is the minimum amount of land we need to be able to do this reasonably, or right of way expansion? We have a certain right of way already, but there's a bank there that we'd cut into. Get that staked out and see, then the negotiations.
And
begin
get a
where-
dollar amount.
You know, yeah, and I'm not even sure that's where they are. I think they just know it needs to be done,
We'll
but
find out.
but they'd
right?
like to
But-
visualize what it's gonna look like.
So if we can get the plan, a dollar amount.
Yeah, and
or
it was
still
really,
Donate it.
it was really nice of Chuck to call. And I
Yes.
said, we're only gonna take what, ask for what we need. And he says, well, make sure you get it so you can
Yeah,
fix it.
so that'd be
for
great to
real.
get the engineer.
And
there.
it, but
Yeah.
that would make you guys all in the future look great because you got it done. It's in place and it's ready. And so we will make sure that happens.
It would be nice to look great.
Yeah, no,
For
it's,
something.
but it's a good,
yeah.
we can't build it, there's no reason to build it, but having the right of way in your pocket.
Yeah.
Cause there'll be another owner and that's why Chuck called. There will eventually be another owner of their property and these guys are favorable
So
to
let's
it.
make sure that
Yeah,
happens.
yeah, no,
also
I'm gonna
before
call-
the,
I'm gonna
tumbles
call
into the-
Dan. I have a meeting
River.
tomorrow at 1. We've been approved, all the paperwork is in, but the next stage is the kickoff meeting, which I think is a 20-minute Teams meeting with Homeland Security on the Grantham Mountain Bridge project.
Oh,
You know,
great,
I mean, and
Excellent.
again,
yes,
the hope is to get Fuson O'Neill, our engineering firm. We may have to go through a process, that's part of the meeting tomorrow, but essentially get an engineer on board and get them designing and permitting.
so we have it
And
ready,
then the hope would be to build it next summer.
yeah, that'd be great, so, that's been a while.
Yeah, well, and it
I
may
mean,
be,
you know
and
why,
it may be
but-
longer,
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
I know.
it's a, yes. So
Yeah.
that's all good
Yeah.
news, let's end on
Oh,
a good
good
note.
news.
Let's end on a good.
There you go. All right,
I move that we close the meeting.
I will second that we adjourn the meeting, all in favor? Aye. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you all.
Everybody.
Okay.